my god, I need to get a hold of myself because just saying the synopsis, like I'm getting chills. I don't know why, and I want to cry, and I don't know why. There are 10 books, right? There are totally 10 books. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Melanie, and today I am here with some 5-star predictions. These are books that, based on their synopses and based on what I've heard from the public, from the booktube, from the audience, I think I will love and rate a 5-star once I read and finish the book. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do so down below for more bookish content. I am constantly uploading videos that I am sure you do not want to miss, as well as all of the live streams that I do throughout the week. And you can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wish list. And without further ado, because I am going to be talking about 10 books, I know this video is bound to be kind of long, so let me just get right into it. The first book on this list is not a new book to me by any means, but back when I read this, I was probably 9 or 10, so I was definitely not rating books back then, and I have never ever done a reread for this book. So I think once I reread this book, which will hopefully be in December, I will rate this a 5-star, and it is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. And I have so many good memories of this book back in the day. A reread is long overdue. In The Lightning Thief, we follow Percy Jackson, who is seemingly by all standards a good kid, except he cannot really focus and his temper is a little bit out of control in his boarding school. Everything starts tipping over though once he swears his pre-algebra teacher turns into this big monster that seems very fantastical and out of this world. And when Percy's mom finds out that this event took place in his school, she thinks it's time for Percy to finally learn the truth of his heritage and his father in particular. Because of that same reason, his mother decides to send him to Camp Half-Blood, a very special place for demigods. There he finds out that his father is actually Poseidon, the god of sea. A mystery breaks out though when Percy gets to Camp Half-Blood that he will now have to solve with 2 of his friends, a satyr and a demigod daughter of Athena called Annabeth. And again, we all know what this book is about. We all know the series, or hopefully we all do. I know that upon a reread, it will be a 5-star. The next book on this list is actually Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, and that is the second book in the Vicious series, the Villainous series, the Something series. I actually finished Vicious yesterday, and I loved this book so much, but I know based on how this book in particular ended, I will love Vengeful. Now, in these books, we follow Victor and Eli, who were college roommates, and they share a lot of traits. They are equally as ambitious and sharp. In their senior year of college, Eli has the brilliant idea of researching EOs, which are the extraordinaries, as his thesis or as some sort of final project alongside his teacher. But Victor and Eli share many interests, and again, they are both overly ambitious, so Victor tags along with Eli in this research for people with powers and extraordinary abilities. But once that academic research turns more experimental, things go horribly wrong. I absolutely loved Vicious. Again, I love the different timelines that this book has. This book ends up in a cliffhanger, and I just completely fell in love with its characters, with their abilities, with the different storylines, but also the fact that all of these characters are morally gray. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I love to read about morally gray characters. They are incredibly frustrating and you want to hit them most of the time, but I do think it's interesting to read about these characters because it truly makes at least me question whether things are inherently bad or if evil is made. And so that's a line of questioning that happens a lot throughout this book. And the second book, Vengeful, I don't know if it'll pick up right after we left off in this book. However, it is said to be a game of cat and mouse with this new character that we're going to meet called Marcella. And if I love anything in this world with like fantasy thrillery stories, it's a cat and mouse game. And I am hopeful that Vengeful will be a 5-star for me. Next up, I have another sequel, and I'm throwing this in here as well because I really do need to read this book, and I think if I hype it up, maybe I'll just actually get off my ass and read it. And I am talking about Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is the sequel to Scythe, which, as you know, I did rate a 5-star. I just absolutely loved the entire story, from the plot to its characters to the themes and the questions that it brings up. I have no doubt that, again, basing on how that book left off, which it did leave on a cliffhanger, I have no doubt I will love the second book equally as much, if not more. Now, if you don't know what Scythe is about, it is set in a utopian world where people can no longer die of natural cause. Humankind as a whole has moved past disease and famine and war, and the only way that people can die is through the scythes, which essentially glean people when the time comes, and this entire process is randomized. The story follows Rowan and Citra after they receive an invitation to be scythe apprentices, which is an honor in this world. This book, based on its name, will focus on the Thunderhead, which is this kind of living entity, which is literally a computer. It controls everything in this world except the Scythedom. Like, it cannot interfere with the scythes. There were some crazy things happening with the Thunderhead that left me very intrigued in the first book and made me question so much. I just want to see how the rest of it plays out. Let me just throw in a romance in here to throw you off a loop. And I am talking about The Kiss Quotient by Helen Wong. I have heard so many things about this book. I have heard the romance is steamy. I have heard it has great representation and it's also pining, but the guy is pining more for the girl. And you know what? If you saw my tier ranking romance tropes, I said I needed me some of that, and so I got me the book. And in this book, we follow Stella Lane, who comes up with algorithms to predict customer purchases. That is a job that has given her more money than she really knows what to do with, and a lot less time to actually have dating experience. Besides that, Stella also has Asperger's, and she decides that she needs a lot of practice if she actually wants to start dating people, so she decides to hire a male escort. Just listen to this. His name is Michael Phan. With the looks of a K-drama star and the martial arts moves to match, the Vietnamese-Swedish stunner can't afford to turn down Stella's offer. And once she comes up with a lesson plan, he proves willing to help her check off all the boxes, from foreplay to more than missionary position. For long, Stella not only learns to appreciate his kisses, but to crave all of the other things he's making her feel. This sounds like a 5-star read for me. Like, this just seems like everything I want. Once I actually finish reading the book that I am currently reading, this is the next book that I am going to pick up. So you'll see eventually if I actually rate this book a 5-star or not. Another fantasy though, because we all know this is what we do over here, okay? I can't stray away from it and I can read other genres, but fantasy is where it's at. The next prediction in my list is An Ember in the Ashes by Salva Tahir. Now, my copy is kind of weird. It's like super tall. I mean, it is really floppy too, and we love the flop. I think this is like a extra floppy book. Like, look at that. The premise of this book is that Laia is a slave and then Elias is a soldier. In this world inspired of ancient Rome, defiance is met by death, and so everyone knows not to defy the empire. However, once Laia's brother is arrested for treason, she needs to make a life-changing choice. She decides to team up with the rebels, who promise they will bring back Laia's brother safely, just and only just if Laia infiltrates a military academy as a spy to bring them information on the empire. There she meets Elias, who is the school's finest soldier, but secretly the most unwilling. Soon they start realizing though that their destinies may be more intertwined than they ever thought, and it may be up to them to save the world, the empire. You know, I love me some good fantasy stories. I love me some high stakes, and I love me some intertwined storylines, fate, destinies from characters that maybe will go from enemies to lovers, and that's what this book seems like. We also have somebody who's undercover as a spy, which only raises the stakes. It is also written by an Asian author, and it truly just sounds like everything that I would love. So I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet, to be quite honest with you, but I definitely do need to pick it up, especially because the last book in the series is coming out December, if I'm not mistaken, so I do need to catch up. Let me just throw in a book that I don't have in my hands yet, but it should already be here in my PO box, and I thought I would have it by the time I filmed this video. However, I totally forgot that it was national holiday this week in Panama, so nobody's working, so I don't have the book yet. But I am talking about Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I do own Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco too. I have not read it, so I don't know anything anything about Carrie Maniscalco's writing style. However, the synopsis for Kingdom of the Wicked sounds like everything I want right now, and I am here for it. In Kingdom of the Wicked, we have twin sisters called Emilia and Vittoria. This book is set in Sicily, in Italy. I love that setting. I don't think I've ever read a book set in Italy, so that's intriguing in and out of itself. And they are Strega. They are witches, okay? I do not know how to pronounce that, but they're witches. And one night, Victoria misses their family dinner, and Emilia actually finds the body of her dead twin. Devastated by her twin's death, Emilia starts going down this rabbit hole of revenge using black magic, which has been long forbidden in this world. And whilst all of that is happening, she meets Wrath, who is one of the princes of hell that everyone has been warned against their entire lives, including Emilia. Wrath seems to be on Emilia's side, but nothing is truly what it seems with the Wicked. And I am yearning for this to be a romance between a witch and a prince of hell. When I saw the synopsis for Kingdom of the Wicked, I just knew instantly, one, I was going to love the book, and two, if this was a witch and prince of hell romance, which I still don't know if it is or not, that will instantly bump up the rating. And in my head, there's just no way that this is not gonna be a 5-star. I pre-ordered it, came out the day of my birthday, it is already here, I need to touch it, I need it here with me now. And I also put in my receipt for the pre-order campaign, so I should be getting my items eventually. When I tell you I'm excited for this book, it's just the way it's happening over here. You know how we roll. Another book that I really think is going to be a 5-star, and this is a combination of elements. I know this is going to be a 5-star because I am kind of familiar with the author's writing, but I do know this writing is gonna be superior to what I've read before from Ms. JLA. And I am talking about From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. When I was younger, I was a sucker for The Lux Diaries by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have the copy right here at the back, and I loved that, okay? I devoured that romance. From Blood and Ash follows this girl named Poppy, who is a maiden. She was chosen from a very early age to fill in this role, which is essentially sacred. She cannot be touched, she cannot be spoken to, she cannot even be approached. I don't know if only by men or if people in general, but it is a very solitary life. She is waiting for the day of her ascension, and she would truly rather just fight alongside the guards against the evil that took away her family than do anything else. And essentially, the future of the kingdom rests on Poppy's shoulders. Enter Hawk, a guard who is honor-bound to assure her ascension. Once Hawk enters this storyline, Poppy's life, her life is suddenly filled with longing and lust and want and need, something that she's never experienced before. Poppy is now on the verge of becoming unworthy to the gods and losing her heart, but also her life once the thread that holds her world together begins to unravel. It truly sounds like such an incredible story. It sounds steamy. It sounds like it has a lot of world building. The stakes sound incredibly high, which I love in my fantasy or in my paranormal romance. What I have heard though is that this leans more towards the fantasy setting rather than the paranormal romance. So we'll see once I read it, but I am incredibly excited because again, I know my friends loved this book. It is one of their faves of the year. And in general, like everyone that I've heard talk about this book has just been glowing reviews. I cannot wait to get into it and actually update my girls and all of you into how this book actually goes down, because there will be a review or a reading vlog or whatever ends up happening, because I need to discuss once I actually read this book, because I really do feel like it will be nothing less of a 5-star. Next up, I have Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This is translated work, and I really want to get more into translated work in 2021. And I feel like this in 2020, if I do get to it this year, I do feel like it'll be the perfect bridge for that. This book has glowing reviews on Goodreads, whether in its original language or in its translation, has loved the book to bits. So I cannot wait to get into this. As you can see, I did get this from Book of the Month because it was one of the Book of the Month picks for September. I'm honestly glad that I did, because you know, adult hardcovers are usually really expensive. So I am glad I got it for a reasonable price. By the way, side note, parentheses, if you have ever wanted to subscribe for book of the month, I do have my link. It is not sponsored in the slightest, I wish, but I do have like a referral code, which if you click, you'll get your first book for $9.99, and then I'll also get a free credit. Just listen to the tagline for a second, okay? Connect with me. Hear me out. A charming novel about a crime that never took place. A would-be bank robber who disappears into thin air, and 8 extremely anxious strangers who find they have more in common than they ever imagined. Are we connected? Are we in the same wavelength right now? Because this book seems equal parts mysterious as it does entertaining, as it does heartbreaking. I just have a feeling. The book centers around a real estate open house when a failed bank robber walks in and seizes all of the people inside this open house hostage. Each of them have their own grievances, hurt, passions, and secrets, and they are not all what they seem to be. The authority and the medias are actually surrounding the premises, but once all of them ally to attempt to get out, I assume, they start to reveal things about themselves which will change the course of the entire story as they know it. Again, I've heard such great things about this book. The few reviews, spoiler free, that I have gotten to see here on Booktube have also been with glowing reviews, so I know this will most likely be a book that I will enjoy. I don't know if I'll be able to get to this in 2020 because my mental TBR right now is like overboard, but if I don't get to this in 2020, then I will definitely get to it in the early stages of 2021. I personally like realistic stories. Give me all the tragedy, give me all the pain, give me all the tears. I absolutely love it in whatever way it comes. So I really do feel like this story is going to fulfill that expectation that I have on books. The next book on my list is another middle grade, and just thinking about this book, I don't know why, it makes me want to like cry, but it also makes me really excited, and it just warms my heart all at the same time. And I have not even read this book, so why is it evoking so much emotion without even reading it? I have absolutely no idea, but it sounds like such a cute story. I am more than ready to read it, and I just really need to thank Molly. She was the one that said you need to read this book. But I am talking about the first book in the Pages & Co series called Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James. Not only is the cover extremely gorgeous, but also the synopsis, it sounds so cute. In this book, we follow 11-year-old Tilly, who has been living on top of her grandparents' bookshop after her mother mysteriously disappeared after she was born. Tilly likes nothing more than escape through books by meeting new characters and entering new worlds like most of us do. And one day, Tilly realizes that those characters within the books that she has long loved and known can actually come to life by a form of magic called book wandering. Alongside Anne of Green Gables and Alice in Wonderland, Tilly sets out in this adventure to solve her mother's mysterious disappearance. This book just sounds so cute. This book just sounds so heartwarming and like a great story. And I've talked about this before, but I really want to get back into middle grade. I feel like this is going to be one of those books that will definitely get me into the zone, into the mood, and I am more than ready. I know this book is going to be a 5-star, and I have never been so sure of anything in my life as I am sure of this book's rating. I'm ready and I am happy already. And last but not least, I have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I know a lot of people have featured this in their 5-star predictions, and I really do think this is going to be a 5-star. Now, I am currently reading Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and that is my first Leigh Bardugo book that I am actually reading. I will say, I am enjoying the story. I just don't think YA is the age group for that story. And so I am really excited to get into Leigh Bardugo's writing in a more adult setting. This book is a dark academia, and I have rarely read dark academia. However, I am really excited to finally jump into a book that is actual dark academia, because there are a lot of themes and taboos that inherently come with dark academia. I'm just really excited to read about that in this book. In this book, we follow Alex Stern, who is the most unlikely person to be admitted to Yale. She was raised by a hippie mom, and she has been in a constant rabbit hole of drug dealing and mysteries and very very dark settings and also very unfortunate situations. By age 20, Alex becomes the sole survivor of a very tragic accident, and she really does think her life is over until in her hospital bed, she receives the offer of a lifetime. She receives a full ride scholarship for Yale University. The only thing that she's wondering now is what's the catch and why her, especially given the circumstance that is her life. And just listen to the very bottom part of the synopsis, okay? They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. This seems like something that would be right up my alley. I also like me some taboo topics, dark themes, and triggers. I love when books include that type of stuff because it just adds a really different element that some books don't have. And those types of reads for me are truly just fascinating. So I cannot wait to get into this book, see what it's truly all about. I just love the aspect of like secret societies and cults and something that is truly very dark. I really do think this could be a 5-star. I think this is the one book though in my list that I may not be as sure as the rest of them because I feel like this is kind of a swing book for me. It could either be a 4 or a 5, but my brain right now is leaning more towards a 5, which is why I included it in my list, and also because I really want to love it because the book was expensive. And those are all the books that I have for you guys today in my 5-star predictions video. These are all books that the premise sounds incredible and I have heard glowing reviews, the covers are pretty, or I've heard incredible things about the author, or I've read something by them before. Hopefully those predictions will be right. Maybe I will do a follow-up video where I check back once I've read all of these books and I tell you whether I was right in my prediction or I was wrong, and if I was, for what reason. I feel like that would be really cool to keep myself accountable and also to let you guys know. If you have read any of these books, don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments and let me know what you thought of it, maybe your ratings. And if you reached the end of the video, just comment a book emoji. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below for more bookish content. Again, I am constantly putting out videos and live streaming. I am sure you do not want to miss any of that because we are always doing the most over here. You can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are again always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wish list in case you want to support me and my channel and gift me a book. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.